Do you want to build a film studio in your garage or your shed and do it on a budget? Well, here's how I did it. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. This video was per request, so here you go, Frank. This is how I built out my garage studio for filming. Now, there are three key elements if you're going to build a studio in your garage that you need to address. One is sound, two is lighting, and the third is the background. So I'm going to go through what I have done to address each of those areas and how I have taken what is a big vacuum echo chamber, being a garage, and turned it into something that I can use where I've got good lighting, still a work in progress, much better sound where I don't have that echo coming through and I get usable sound. And then the background that I'm using, which has been a work in progress, and some of the things that I've learned that will hopefully help you. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when I do projects like this, I try not to just throw a credit card down and pay for everything. I try to find a way to do it in a budget. So that's really what this is a budget-oriented studio filming area in my garage. Now, I did take up a big chunk of my garage, but I'm out here almost every day, every other day, filming something, doing something out here. So to me, it was worth it. If I want to continue to make content, I had to improve the quality, and this is what I did. So let's get started on talking about how I built out my studio garage. Acoustically speaking, a garage is a terrible place to try to film if you don't take some steps to mitigate the echo chamber. You have these aluminum doors that sound bounces on back and forth on, and then you also have a hard concrete floor that sound bounces off of. Now I'm probably getting some echo right now just to demonstrate how bad this area is. And without cars or anything else in here, it's just this big open area for sound to bounce all over the place. So the first thing we've got to do if we're going to build a studio in the garage is address the sound issues. So this is what I did. First thing I did to try to address the sound issues is I put carpet down across the concrete area that is basically the film studio area that I'm using. This helps dampen the sound, and so it's not reflecting right off the concrete right in the area where I am filming. So this is the first thing I did. This carpet was very inexpensive. It was something I picked up at Lowe's. I think it was a 7x3 or 4x8 roll for $15. So in carpet and the double-sided sticky tape that I used along the seams, I think I paid $55 for this area here that I'll show. And so once I got this done, then I had to address the area that I'm projecting my voice into and the area around it to try to reduce the echo and get a better sound quality. To address some of the echo issues that happen, and I might be getting a little bit of echo off of my back wall because it doesn't have the sound damping. What I have here is basically blankets. I have some blackout curtains that are kind of soft and fuzzy on the inside that I already had laying around that I've put up to help stop the sound and absorb some of it. A blanket would be a little bit better, but I already had these and I can slide them back and forth in order to get in and out and to make room for my car when I pull it in. But the blanket I have over here was just a blanket we had in the house that was used. I've got another comforter over here that is really old and worn out, but is great for this. Now you can buy sound blankets, sound damping blankets off of Amazon or different places, but that gets expensive. So just use blankets that you have and hang here. Now I'll show you how I've hung these and how you can save some money there as well. But that is to keep from having that echo effect. And so when I project my voice, it'll get absorbed into this material here and not echo back and forth. Now, again, like I said, I am projecting into the back wall, so it may not sound as good, but that is something I've done here. What I have done in order to hang blankets and these curtains is I've taken just wall hooks and I've anchored them in the ceiling. Now, the really important point is make sure if you're going to do this that you get your wall anchors in studs. So that way the weight of the blankets and the poles that you use, whatever you put in here, don't get pulled out like I had happen yesterday. I thought I was in a stud, was not. So I have 1-inch PVC pipe, and it's supported in 3 spots, one at the end, one in the middle, and then I have another anchor point here where they come together, and then I can just zip tie it. So remember, budget oriented, and since none of this actually shows up on film on the camera except for in this particular video, I don't really care what this looks like as long as it functions the way I need it to. So something for sound damping, just get it hung up, basically create a wall. It's like being a kid making blanket tents. That's basically what this is. That's how I handle audio in my little garage studio. Now, if you've ever tried to do any post-production audio improvement, especially if there's an echo, it is nearly impossible to remove an echo out of audio. Test, 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 test. And I've tried all kinds of different AI tools. Maybe there's some out there that I haven't tried, but I found before I put up the curtains basically around this area that my audio was unusable. There was a number of videos that I filmed without realizing how bad the audio was, that I ended up just getting rid of it and not using any of that film, which was really disappointing because it takes a lot of time to do this. So if you're looking to do a garage studio or an area that is big, even if you're in a shed, I would recommend putting up some sound damping to just get better sound quality so that when you project, it dies. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just to the microphone. So just my thoughts on that. So that's the audio. So let's move over to the lighting. All right, I'll be the first to admit that lighting in this area has been a big challenge, and it's still a work in progress, but I'll go through some of the things that I've done. I know there are a lot of lighting options out there, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money on all of the different lights out there. I was trying to do something that was more budget oriented. And I think I've worked it out to where the image looks okay. It is fluorescent lighting, so it is a little bit on the harsher side. I do some post-production lighting adjustments to try to get it to look a little bit better, but I think it's sufficient for what I have here. You may disagree, but for what I'm trying to do, this is what I have. So last summer, I wanted to do some green screen work. And when I did that, I just bought a whole entire lighting kit with backdrop, and it had 3 different backdrops. It had green screen, white, and black. Now I don't use those because I have my own background, but if I want to do any green screen or any other type of drops, I can, which was primarily the purpose I did. The reason I got that, but I also got it because it had 2 box lights, which I have set up here, and then it also had some umbrella lights. Now, I will show the box lights. I've had a little bit of a difficult time getting these to give me the quality that I wanted. It had covers on them. I took the covers off to try to get better lighting. So, and I also have some overhead fluorescent lighting as well that kind of illuminates this space. And then I've been playing with trying to get some background lighting. I know that's a very popular thing to do. It's thematic. I have lighting down below on the back to try to illuminate the back of the motorcycle, depending on where the camera is pointed. So lighting is still a work in progress, but I think there's a lot of inexpensive lighting options, and it's kind of what you think works for you. Now, because I do a lot of work on the bike and I'm moving around all the time, I need to have the flexibility of moving lights around, where if you're just doing talking head stuff, maybe it's not that big a deal, and you could spend some more money on lighting and not need all these extra things. So yeah, box lights here, a fluorescent light over the top. It's not necessarily the warmest of lighting, but it is functional. The last thing to address in a film studio is the background. I did some research trying to figure out what the best colors were to use, and in the research I found somewhere it said using light gray was a good color for background. I put light gray, I painted the walls in the studio area that I have, and I immediately saw that light gray was not gonna work. The lights just, the image quality got blown out from the lighting and it didn't work. I needed to find something with contrast to it. I had the banner behind me made almost a year ago because in another area I was filming in the garage a lot. It had white walls. I couldn't paint it. It was a rental. So I decided to put that back here because it adds some color and contrast. And then also I put some helmets back here, and then I've got a jacket, just something to break up that background. Now, a couple of things that I learned early on was I really like maps, and I wanted maps on the walls behind me. But the problem that I had with the maps is the lamination on them provided a lot of glare, and then the glare was distracting and it was disrupting the lighting of this space. So I had to get rid of those. So depending on what you want to do for your backdrop, have something that breaks up the color scheme. If you look at very big channels, things that they do, they've got really great backgrounds. And whether your channel is on something else, put something that's reflective of whatever your channel is behind you, or maybe something that is reflective of you, yourself, your personality, things like that. So I'm not an expert on doing backdrops, but this has been a work in progress. I'm still kind of playing with it. I think having different colors, like the Colorado State little picture up there, adds a little color, some depth, things like that. Some of the backgrounds that I've really liked that I may do in the future is the faux bricks that you can basically plaster up on the wall. It's just a thin veneer that you can put up. Great. Doesn't necessarily stay within budget, because then you're starting to spend hundreds of dollars to do a backdrop, but that looks great. The other thing I thought about doing is taking cheap flooring that has that wood grain look to it, and then doing that all the way up the wall to give it some texture as well. But again, that doesn't really stay in the budget side of things, which is why I've just kind of put up what I had. I already had the paint, painted it, and then use things that I already have, some props that I already have, to kind of give some depth and perspective to that background. So that's what I've done, and I'm pleased with the way it came out, and it works, it's functional. So do whatever fits your personality and whatever helps maybe make the image look a little bit better, so that there's no glare and that the image doesn't get blown out from the lighting in the background and the camera not being able to focus on you. Just some tips and tricks that I've came up with. All right, so there it is. That's how I have put together my filming area, my garage studio. Hopefully you found this useful. One thing I forgot to mention, just to make it a little bit more budget friendly, is if you don't have old blankets laying around the house that you can hang up, go to a thrift store. You can get blankets there pretty inexpensively over buying these sound damping blankets that you can get. And what better way of just throwing stuff up? So make a blanket tent around your filming area, and I guarantee it will improve your audio. So if you have any tips or tricks, if you have also built a garage studio, a filming area in your garage, leave that in the comments below. If you have any other recommendations for me and what I could do to improve my filming area without spending a lot of money, then also leave that in the comments below. So, and if this has been helpful to you in any way whatsoever, leave that in the comments below as well, just so that I know that there's value in these videos that I put together. And because this was a requested video, I wanted to make sure I got it out there, because there's probably more of you out there that will be interested in this. So if you did like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Get out, do some riding, ride safe, and I will see you out there.